Both of you switch SD cards. If this doesn't work, then use your own SD card, Kenny, and I will just let you borrow mine until I get your footage off of it. And
I won't need it.
Wait, that's the same one.
Alright, maybe it is a bit early.
Action. Dano, who are you?
Who am I? It took me a long time to figure that out, but I guess the easiest way to explain who I am is just an artist. A full-time artist.
It's a good, simple answer, but it makes sense. It makes sense because you do so many cool things. You are multi-talented. I want to start by saying, the tattoo artist or tattoo side of things. How long have you been doing tattoos?
Well, I've been tattooing about 15 years now. I don't count the first 2 years because I was an apprentice. So it's really been like 17 years. But yeah, there's like a learning experience in the beginning where you're an apprentice and you're not tattooing or anything, but you're just hanging out at the shop.
Is there any stories from that time that stick out that made you realize you really wanted to do this, or things that were like, maybe I don't, like on either side while you were an apprentice?
Yeah, there's definitely both sides. I mean, on the good side, I don't know, I was just very driven, I knew that's what I wanted to do, and I was going to do whatever it took to do that, because it was like a crossroads in my life. It was like either do this, something that you're passionate about, or keep doing what you're doing, and I didn't want to do that. But the bad side, I guess, is just seeing what happens behind the scenes. Like a lot of my coworkers back then had a lot of addictions, and it's not like that at every shop. Let's just say that.
Where are we now?
Oh, this is the tattoo shop I work at. It's called Lucky 13. It's on Kipling and Colfax. I've worked here twice now. The owner, Joey, is like one of my good homies. We've known each other for years, and he's had this tattoo shop for 17 years, so weirdly about the amount of time that I've been in this industry.
You have a daughter.
Right.
And how does your tattoo work, affect your relationship with her? Does it affect your relationship with her?
Absolutely. I mean, it doesn't, because when I have her on my days off, I always have her on my days off. I have it all set up that way. I don't bring my work home with me. That's why I have everything here. It's like a part of the plan. Like I don't want to be distracted when I'm spending time with her.
Great. Fair. And parenting is not easy. It's something you learn over time, and not that I would know, but I would imagine it's something you have to somewhat practice at. But it's like live practicing. You can't mess up too much.
I just try to be very supportive and encourage her to do what she wants. She just happens to love doing art and music and stuff just like I do. So I'm just trying to enjoy that, hopefully while it lasts, or maybe it'll last forever, I don't know.
You're an artist, you have a child. That tends to be difficult, I would imagine. How is that? Was there a point where you had to kick it into high gear? When was the moment you had to kick it into high gear? Like, was there a specific time where you realized, I have to do more if I want to continue to do what I love and take care of who I love? Like, when was that moment? How old were you? What were you doing?
It's weird because, like, being an artist, there's a certain point where it is out of your control, and you have to just kind of trust the process. I don't know, I've kind of learned the hard way that the more you really worry about money when you're an artist, the less likely you're going to make it. Now, I mean, it's literally just been the amount of time that I've done it, and the amount, growing up here in Colorado and knowing a fair amount of people is really just like kind of forced me to be super busy. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that it's like I've been preparing for this like my whole career, and
so you worked hard to get here. It's like you're here now.
Right.
It's working.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, was there a moment where you realized it's working? Like, this is what I'm doing it.
A few different times in my career, it's definitely been like that. But realistically, like probably the last, I would say 8 about the time she's been alive has been a dramatic incline of just staying busy, and I just have to be creative sometimes, and like in ways of like promoting myself and like ways to like catch people's attention.
That's a beautiful thing. It's like the time that she's been here, and then that was when things started clicking. That's poetic. That's dope.
Yeah,
that's really cool. The industry has some vices. When did you realize that? How quickly did you realize there was some addictions and things like that associated with this industry?
Honestly, almost right away, and that was probably for the better, honestly, because working at that shop where I first started, I mean, it was just a bunch of us that were all friends. Some of us grew up together, some of us not, but either way, it was like, it wasn't uncommon that people that were even getting tattooed were like bringing in drinks and, being a tattoo artist, especially for a long time, you get a lot of pain in your back and different things, and sometimes people use that as an excuse to party, and like do pain pills or drugs in general,
I was gonna ask if there was like a general field of what you encountered. What were the drugs? What did you encounter, and how did you operate around that, at least for the time being?
Honestly, it seems to me it's common that it's a lot of downers, alcohol, opiates, heroin included, all that stuff, just kind of, to me now, like looking back, I'm like, why in some, like being an artist, you're already kind of emotional and sometimes down when you're not succeeding. Why would you want to add to that by doing something that also makes you feel down? And at first, I just kind of just was there, for the ride, and then eventually, like, I started joining the party, because I felt like, at the time, I felt like it was like part of it, like it was like, oh, this is just part of tattooing, because I didn't know better,
Right. How old were you when you started to join those parties? And like join that scene and join doing that?
Well, I mean, it was kind of weird because like when I first started tattooing, I was also just turned 21. So
the timing lined
up. And like a good way for us to promote ourselves as new tattooers was to go to bars. We would hand out business cards, talk to people, go to bars and stuff. And, like, that's not the healthiest way to meet people most of the time, so I was drinking a lot. Then before I even started tattooing, what actually got me into tattooing was that I had the 3 hernia surgeries, and I was already doing opiates at the point, but like prescription, like I didn't think there was anything wrong with that, but eventually, like, the prescriptions were gone, and then I still wanted to do them, like it was still, I don't know, I didn't realize what addiction was when I was that young, I didn't know that it affected you like that,
When did you realize you had to change something about that lifestyle, and when did you realize you couldn't do that anymore?
Well, it was later in life, because that stuck around for a little while. I worked at that shop for about 5 or 6 years. I don't know if you're familiar with opiate addiction at all, but like it gets to the point where it's not fun anymore. You're doing it because you have to, because if you don't do it, then you're just going to be sick, and it's like a really awful feeling. It's like the flu times 10, in my opinion. And so at that point, you're just doing it just to feel normal, like it's not even like working anymore. I actually overdosed one time and almost died, and I was lucky that the person that was with me had called the ambulance in time and stuff, because they were able to take care of me, and that was very intense. So that's like where I started not wanting to do it anymore. It wasn't fun anymore. It really scared me. And I've lost a lot of tattoo friends to overdoses and stuff, so it was like really rough. And then the girl I was seeing at the time, we'd been together for a while. She ended up overdosing and passing away, and that was like a huge wake up call.
What did you do to start turning that around? Because obviously that's big. That's a lot.
It is, yeah.
And I'm also sorry to hear that.
No, it's okay.
It's a lot.
It happened, and I mean, it's taken me a long time to accept it. You know, that was almost 8 years ago. I really tried to take it as positive as possible, even though I didn't. You know, I stopped doing the pills, but then I started drinking a lot. You know, and I was just trying to cope that way instead of actually coping the correct way, which that took me a long time to figure out.
What was the correct way to start coping? What did you start doing to stop drinking and start coping?
I mean, sobriety and just like actually dealing with your problems and just not like trying to forget them. You know, healing, forgiveness is huge. You know, it's just like all part of the healing process. You know, you have to face those traumas in order to move forward and be happy, you know.
You said it took you a while to like really start processing it. Where do you think you're with that now?
Oh, I'm better than I've ever been, honestly.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Hell
Better
yeah.
than I've ever been. Haven't been drinking for 2 years. Before that, it was 4. So I haven't drank for a long time. I mean, I haven't done the pill since Ashley passed away, and you know, just I feel like the being off of those things has helped me tremendously. You know, actually just like think for myself instead of numbing the pain like I did in the past. You know,
I was gonna say, and like, look at you now. Like, you're doing some cool stuff. We wouldn't be talking to you if we didn't think you were doing cool stuff. So like,
appreciate that.
Way to be here now, because there's a lot of people that wouldn't have been able to, and whether that's by their own vices or that just give up and stop and figure out I have to do something else. And you're still here. You're doing tattoos, doing so much more than that, and that's really cool. So I just want to say I appreciate that. I appreciate you.
I appreciate that too.
And that's now something I want to say is, so I met you through the Kava Bar. What role has the Kava Bar served for you, both in terms of addiction and just where you're at in life?
You know, I think the best way to describe it is I always thought that I was very introverted. That was all a lie. You know, like I think the drugs and the alcohol really made me feel that way. And I think what really made me realize that was when I started going to the Kava Bar. You know, there's just so many good people there. It's a positive environment. Everybody's doing things together. And it's just like I guess like everything I wanted with like social interaction, other than tattooing, because that's a very big thing too. You know, like you get very personal with people in those moments. And I think the similarities are what keeps me going there. Right.
Do you think you'd be a different person if the Kava Bar, or a place like the Kava Bar, was for you then? Like, would that have affected you differently now?
I'd be a different person. You know, I'd be a completely different person. I don't know. I feel like I had to go through all the hard stuff to be who I am now and be so motivated and driven. You know, like I've been on the downside and I'm finally up on the upside. You know, it's just like, I don't know. I don't think it would have been the same.
Okay, so in meeting you at the Kava Bar and seeing you at the Kava Bar, you always have your fingerboard. How did that start?
Skateboarding was a big part of my life from the time I was a teenager up until now. Really, like I don't like skateboard as much as I used to, just because I've got a lot of injuries and I'm just hurting. Old man, you know. I'm just kidding. But I don't know. Even when I was younger, I always wanted to start a skateboard company, right? Then like I did the fingerboard thing because we used to do that a lot at the skate shop I worked at. I don't know. I kind of forgot about fingerboarding a little bit. You know, I still had them and stuff, but I had like tech decks and stuff. And then I met the people over at this place over here called This Fingerboard. and they have like a little fingerboard skate shop. They have like all these like replicas of like famous skate spots and stuff that people go in and fingerboard and stuff, and you know, it's really cool. You know, it's just like everything on a very small scale. Like these boards are like made exactly like real skateboards, but like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids skateboard, you know. And I just started small, and I mean, it's been a huge learning curve because it's artistic, but it's like, I mean, I used to love woodshop when I was a kid too. So I mean, it's just like a different form of art, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what I'm trying to do with it, is like bring the whole tattoo art and the, you know, the art of making the boards together, you know, because they're like literally made like little tiny skateboards.
I love it, little tiny skateboards. How long did it take you to start getting like good at that? Because I bought mine from you for my action figure photography, but I started to just sit here and like try to get good at it, and I have no idea what I'm doing.
Good way to learn how to ollie, and that's how I kind of taught my daughter. So like when you ollie, you want to like pop it back and like scoop it up, right? So a good like way to train your fingers to do that is if you put it on the ledge like this, and you just do that. Kind of the same thing, you know.
I think the fact that I don't have grip tape says a lot. Oh, hey, wait a minute.
There you go.
So you are multi-talented in a lot of cool stuff. What is it that you're the most proud of at this point, in all aspects?
I guess I can't be proud of just one thing, if that makes sense. You know, like I do so many different things that I'm really proud of myself with how tattooing's going, because I'm staying busy consistently. So that's something to be super proud of. You know, like I've worked really hard to get to this point, and it's just like the hard work is paying off, and it's just that is something to be super proud of. As far as the fingerboards go, I mean, I'm super proud of that because I had this idea and I just jumped in and did it. You know, like I had no idea what I was doing at the beginning, and now I'm to the point where like I'm learning and doing better and better every time I do it. You know, I do a lot of painting and stuff too. I do a lot of commission paintings. I recently started doing oil paintings, which oil's something I've never really messed with. You know, that has a whole different thing to be proud of too, is like learning that. I paint a lot of realism when it comes to that.
I want to give you your flowers while you're here again, and just, you know, you're doing so much cool stuff. You're here where, as I said, like a lot of people wouldn't be for a lot of different reasons. So, you know, good on you. Proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before I get to the last question, do you guys have any questions? Anything?
Not on the spot, I don't.
Sorry, I forgot to tell you about that. Kira knows that, but I forgot to tell you, Kenny. And do you have any questions for us about all of this, anything, whatever? So this is.
Is there anybody you guys want to shout out?
I want to shout out again Kira for being here, and shout out Kenny.
Yeah,
Kenny's new
Kenny.
here on the crew. Thanks, Kenny, for being here. Thanks for doing that. And another shout out to our first person, Bryce. Thank you. And
You did awesome.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
And just everybody, just shout out everybody. You're all here right now. If you're watching this, you're here right now. Be proud of yourself.
Yes.
You know. Yeah, I think that's it. You guys don't have anything? Okay, then who are you?
Well, I think I'm gonna pretty much stick to my answer to the first time. You know, like I'm just me. I'm an artist. You know, like it's something I've done since I was a kid, and it's just something that's always stuck around and been there for me. And like keep this crazy brain of mine occupied. You know.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're so much more than an artist. You're an inspiration. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us here. Thanks for your time. And
Thank you. Thanks for choosing me. I appreciate it.
You're the second one. You were easy on our list, like off the rip. I guess that's a wrap.
Yeah.
Dano.
Yeah.
Good job, Dano.
Yeah.
All right, cool.